Hello, this is Nancy with Grow More, home of 60 is the New 60, where we choose to live fully. Well, today we're going to continue our exploration of fearless resiliency. And we left off last time with a quote by Naomi Judd, and I only gave you part of it. Well, we'll get the rest of it today. And there's a few others that I'm going to go ahead and read to you also, and I'm going to read them because I believe they carry Naomi's vibration. It's her words. And this was in Ability magazine. It was done from an interview by Jane Russoff. This is the quote we had, the partial quote we had last week. I am because of the sense that my mom gave me, that I was a child of this Most High God. I've always had a certain ability to live outside my surroundings. I've lived on the edge. I was a paycheck away from the streets all the time with a minimum wage job. I was a battered woman. I had a cycle stalking me. I was traipsing around with 2 young children alone. That film of desperation coats everything when you have no emotional support. So Jane asked her, well, how did you distance yourself from all that? And her answer was, no, the exact opposite. I learned how to practice imagery. Basically, it's hope. No matter how grim the reality, no matter if I'm 17 and unmarried and pregnant, and I've got the family doctor telling me that the test was positive, and that was in 1963, small town America, big shame thing going on. Or if I, sitting in front of another doctor 30 years later, who's telling me I may just have a couple of more years to live, I learned that when you step out in hope, it propels you beyond your self-doubts. And Jane asked her how she did it. I would imagine how I wanted things to be. If I had the sheriff at the door with an eviction notice because I was behind in my rent, I would imagine that someday I was going to own my own home and my own land, and no one could take it away, and that I'd have security. And when Wyona and I were really battling a very turbulent relationship when she was a teenager, I kept hoping and imagining that someday she would be my best friend, and that she would choose to be with me no matter what was going on. And that came to pass. And when speaking of her illness with Jane, she said, I came to the truth that security is not in a lab report. I used to tell why that security is not in a #1 record. Security comes from God. The first doctor told me I had a couple of years to live. I said, I appreciate modern medicine, but you can't help me. The answers are not on the outside, so I'm going within. So I'm hanging out with all these people who are in tune with the fact that wellness is not a materialistic pursuit. It's a spiritual pursuit. And when asked what the goal was, peace of mind. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict. Peace is the ability to deal with it. I constantly find myself alone and starting over again. And when I can't change the way things are, I've learned how to change the way I feel about them. I acknowledge the diagnosis and completely accept it, but I deny the prognosis. So it really doesn't matter what they say. I just know that I'm going to continue to realize that the body is a miracle, and that the spirit and mind and body are all one, and that I am co-creator in my healing process. Naomi's words show that she repeatedly chose her higher vibration. She chose expansion and not contraction. Being in fear makes you unable to function, or to function ineffectively. It paralyzes action, and fear begets more fear. You're either mulling over the past or you're fearing the future. In choosing fear, you cannot be discerning, and you cannot unemotionally assess the present. And you are not able to persist without exception. which defines resiliency. You wind up creating the reality that you despise. So what are you choosing if you're not choosing fear? You're choosing love and trust. Naomi has that deep abiding trust in God, for herself, for others. It's her secret to being fearless and resilient. True, she's had and used various tools throughout her journey to assist herself, but that is the foundation. Naomi lives in the I am awareness. She does all that she can, and she leaves the rest to God. She's a wonderful example for the Serenity Prayer, written centuries ago by St. Francis of Assisi. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and wisdom to know the difference. For all that she is and all that she's done, many, many wishes of love and gratitude. Join me and Grow More, where we span the generations in celebration of 60 is the new 60. Here's to our rippling fountain of youth.